so at that point, the gastroenterologist recommended that myself and my siblings start getting colonoscopies at the age of 35. So typically people get them at age 50, but because of family history, it was recommended that my siblings and I, my two brothers and I, start getting them at the age of 35. And so, I'm 40, almost 41. So this is actually my second colonoscopy. I got one at 35, and I just recently got my second one this past Monday.
What's happening, y'all? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers. Every couple of weeks, you can look forward to a quick inspirational message or a thought-provoking guest with knowledge and wisdom, all geared towards helping you be the best father that you can be. We're bringing the village to you. Now it's your turn to do something with what you learned. All right, y'all. Let's go.
What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D, Mr. Double Down on You, with another episode of Black Fathers Now. Now, fellas, hope y'all are doing well. Hope you're making it do what it do. If you're watching this video, and this is one I actually encourage y'all to go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and watch the video of this, as I'll have some images associated with it. But if you're watching the video, you'll see this is another episode live from the garage. So yeah, man, that's what I'm doing. And it's interesting because the weather's changing now, so it's a little cooler. So not in a t-shirt, I'm in my hoodie, rocking the Black Fathers Matter hoodie, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, so it's a really cool morning, but this is live from the garage. And today's episode is really about the concept of health is wealth. Health is wealth. Years ago, I heard KRS-One give a definition of wealth in his own words. And he said that wealth is the intersection of health and well-being. Think about that. Wealth is the intersection of health and well-being. And when I heard that definition of wealth, it really resonated with me. It was something that, I'll be completely honest, I just literally started to adopt myself. Wealth is really the intersection of health and well-being. And so when you think about health and we think about well-being, there's a lot of that we really have to be intentional about in our lives. This is Black Fathers Now, so I'm talking to brothers, I'm talking to black men. And as we think about that, we need to take control of the things that we can take control of, but then we also need to make sure that we have relationships with healthcare providers and, physicians and things of that sort, so that we can make sure that we're up to date on everything that's going on with us. And so in this episode of Black Fathers Now, we're talking about health is wealth. I'm going to talk about my recent journey in getting a colonoscopy. So fellas, again, you can listen to this one on your favorite, podcast listening app, but I'd also encourage you to go to my YouTube channel, and the link is in the bio, and subscribe, and also watch this episode so that you can see some of the imagery that I'll put up there. But recently, I underwent a colonoscopy. And, a few episodes back, I did an episode about Chadwick Boseman and, the motivation that, he put out in regards to how he operated in spite of dealing with stage 4 colon cancer. And for me, that was another, kind of aha moment of, Mike, you need to go ahead and get your colonoscopy scheduled, right? So for those that don't know, typically colonoscopies are recommended for people over the age of 50, and you typically get them every 5 to 10 years, depending on family history. That's typical, right? Well, in my case, we have family history with colon cancer. My maternal grandfather, so my mother's father, passed away at the age of 55 from colon cancer, and he was diagnosed, I believe, at 53. And because of that, his children, or my mom and her siblings, were recommended to start getting colonoscopies, I believe, at 45-ish. And so they started getting them. And what ended up happening, I think something was found in one of them at some point. I mean, it wasn't, it didn't end up being, dangerous, but something was found there. So at that point, the gastroenterologist recommended that myself and my siblings start getting colonoscopies at the age of 35. So typically people get them at age 50, but because of family history, it was recommended that my siblings and my two brothers and I start getting them at the age of 35. And so, I'm 40, almost 41. So this is actually my second colonoscopy. I got one at 35, and I just recently got my second one this past Monday. And for those who don't know what a colonoscopy is, a colonoscopy, in essence, is when a gastroenterologist takes a tube or a camera, a small camera, and they snake it through the backside. I know, yeah, it sounds pretty gross, but they snake it through the backside, and with that camera they can look at your rectum and your colon and look and see if there are any things that are in there that aren't supposed to be there. And if there are some things that aren't supposed to be there, polyps or growths or whatever, they can remove them, take biopsies or whatever. But long story short, it's just a diagnostic look at your colon from the inside. Okay? So, I mean, it sounds bad, it sounds gross, but the reality is this is all done under sedation. So you're asleep. So you don't know it, you don't feel it. You literally go to sleep, you wake up, and it's done. And it's like, I think 20 or 30 minutes. And you're not getting cut, you're not getting, it's none of that. It's literally, they just go up the backside with a camera on the end of a snake tube, and they go through and look at your colon. And so that, in essence, is what a colonoscopy is, the diagnostic look at your colon. And then from there, again, health is wealth. You then are equipped with what's going on. And you then know what's going on. When it comes to fixing issues, when it comes to improving upon something that's already pretty good, you have to start with a baseline. And you can't start with a baseline if you don't know what's going on. So colonoscopies, or a colonoscopy, is recommended, once it's the right time for you based on your status and family history and all of that, so that you can get a baseline as to what's going on. It's not, any type of treatment. It's not, any of that. It's just giving you the understanding of where you are, and then you can make the proper distinction or the proper determination of what needs to change in your life going forward. So walking you through the process. So the reality is the colonoscopy itself is it's painless. It really doesn't bother you. It's not really uncomfortable because you don't feel it. You're asleep, and it's like 30 minutes. The challenge with the colonoscopy is the day before. So when you meet with your gastroenterologist or get recommended by your physician to meet with one, and you say, hey, I want to get a colonoscopy, and you get it scheduled, they give you the pamphlet as to what's going on. They tell you about a week out some of the foods you need to stop eating, and certain medicines you need to be mindful of taking, all of that if you're on anything. But the real deal comes the day before. And the day before is when you got to start the clean out process. So for me, I got mine on a Monday. So pretty much starting Sunday, I had to start on an all liquid diet. So that just means I can drink nothing but clear liquids. So clear liquids, no food. And I mean, that wasn't bad. I mean, I was drinking, I had like bone broth, which bone broth is really just a new way of, saying chicken stock or beef stock, right? But they've really reimagined it into some health tonic called bone broth. But either way, so I did bone broth, tea, coffee, water, sparkling water, things like that. And that was pretty much what I consumed throughout the day. And it really wasn't that bad. I've fasted before, so that's really not a big deal. But the issue came starting about 5 p.m. the night before, because that's when I had to start the actual laxative, or start the process of taking the legit stuff that's going to clear you out. And they gave me a pack called Suprep Bowel Prep Kit, right? And again, if you're watching the video, I got an image of what it is. And so long story short, it's this kit where there are 2 6-ounce bottles of this solution. And at 5 p.m., I had to pour the 6-ounce solution in 16 ounces of water and consume the whole thing, followed by two 16-ounce glasses of water. And literally within an hour. So I had to do that within an hour. And again, mind you, no food all throughout the day. And literally within an hour, it was like on the dot, starting at 6 p.m., it became explosive. Like about every 15 minutes or so, it was explosive. It was time to go. And the Suprep bowel kit literally was a powerful laxative to clean you out. And that's the whole purpose. You know, when they're going up and looking into your colon and looking into your rectum, you know, they want to have a clean slate to look at. They don't want to have a whole lot of junk, i.e. poop, up in there. So they got to get you cleaned out. And I'm not going to lie, that's challenging. So when you get, you know, when it's time for you to get your colonoscopy and you're going through the whole prep, just be mindful. You're not going nowhere that day before. You're going to be stuck close to a toilet. Like, I'm not even meaning outside. Like, you're close to a toilet within, you know, a few feet. Like the room next to the bathroom at best, right? Because when it comes, and it's explosive. Like, but that's the whole point. And so that part is challenging. I'm not gonna lie. That's like literally the worst part of it. And drinking the stuff is nasty. It's like, ugh. You know, of all these years of doing colonoscopies, you'd be surprised. You'd think that by now they would have an easier way to get you cleaned out that's not as, you know, nasty tasting and maybe not as uncomfortable. But, you know, maybe that's the $1 billion idea that I'll come up with. All right. But so yeah, so you do the laxative at 5 p.m. or that's what I did with the protocol that I was given. And then what ended up happening is for about 3 hours or so, that was, you know, that's about what was going on with me. And then everything kind of calmed down. I went to sleep. And then I had to do round 2 the next morning. So my procedure was planned for 9:30 in the morning. So 4 hours before. So at 5:30, I had to do round 2 of the exact same thing, where 6 ounces into this big 16-ounce bottle and drink that, followed by 2 16-ounce bottles of water. And again, explosive. But it was interesting because I haven't consumed anything in over 24 hours except liquid. So, you know, what was coming out was literally looking out what typically comes out of the front. Like, you really couldn't tell. It was like water coming out the front and water coming out the back. But that was the whole point, getting you cleaned out. So we did that for about 2.5, 3 hours. It was explosive, but then it calmed down. And then it was time to go to the facility to get my colonoscopy. So getting to the facility, and again, we're still in COVID protocol, so you have to check in with your temperature, you have to wear a mask and all of that. And you get there, you sign in, and with the colonoscopy procedure, because you are getting fully sedated, you have to have a driver. So my wife and kids had to drop me off, you know, and come back and pick me up. But what ended up happening, I got there, checked in, you know, signed up, did my thing, and then you get put into your room. And literally, it's a pretty simple procedure. Like, this is such a routine procedure that happening. You're hearing the dogs probably bark in the background next door. You know, they always tend to come out once I start doing this outside, but it is what it is. You know, this is life, right? But anyway, I got checked in, and once you're checked in, you know, you get your room and all of that. They give you a gown, and the nurse comes in and tells you, hey, keep everything on, just take off your pants and your underwear, but keep everything else on under your gown. So it was funny, I had sneakers, my t-shirt, and, you know, my shirt or whatnot, and a gown. Yeah, still had my sneakers on. It's pretty interesting. I thought that was kind of odd, but anyway. So you're there, and then the anesthesiologist comes in, or the nurse comes in as well, and gets your IV started, so that they can, you know, obviously administer the you know, the propofol or whatever medication that they're going to utilize in your situation to put you to sleep for your colonoscopy. So literally, you sit there, you talk, they give you the rundown of what's going to happen and all of that. They roll you into the procedure room, and then the gastroenterologist is there, the anesthesiologist is there, the nurse is there. They talk to you for a few minutes, a few more pleasantries in regards to what's about to happen. You lean over to your side, and then the anesthesiologist says, all right, you're about to go to sleep. You blink, and then you wake up, and it's all done. Like literally, that's it. You blink, you wake up, and it's all done. Now, again, if you've never had anesthesia before or never been put to sleep, you're going to be a little groggy afterwards, But I'll tell you, that was a doggone best sleep. Like that 30 minutes felt like I slept for like 8 hours. Like it was some good sleep. But anyway, I digress. But and so thankfully in my situation, my colonoscopy came back clear. I got a couple images here where you can see what they give you. So when you get done, you get a printout, and they actually give you some snapshot images from the inside of your colon. And so, so actually I have pictures of the inside of my colon now in my file cabinet. But but thankfully, everything was clear, and I'm scheduled to come back in another 5 years, again, due to family history. And so there's another thing that's interesting. So when you do research on colon issues, there's a lot of research around genetic testing. And so you can do genetic testing and find genetic markers and all of that on your susceptibility to various conditions, disorders. A lot of women do that, I think, with the Brax gene or something. I think it's the Brax gene. I don't know, but it's a gene that shows whether or not ladies have a higher propensity to develop breast cancer, right? So there are some that go and do that just so that they're aware that they are in a higher risk category. Well, there's one as well as it pertains to colon cancer, and it's called Lynch's syndrome. So you can actually get a genetic test which lets you know whether or not you have Lynch's syndrome, which puts you at a higher risk or at a higher propensity to develop colon cancer. It doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to develop it, but it just says that, hey, because of this syndrome, you are at a higher risk. You can get that done. And so I mentioned that to my gastroenterologist, and he actually gave me some game. And he said, that is a really good thing that you can do. You can get some information as to where, your genetic makeup and if you are at a higher risk category. But he said, I would warn you of something. And I was like, well, what is that? He said, it's good and it doesn't impact your health insurance, but if it comes back positive, or it comes back that you do have this particular gene or this gene mutation or this scenario, then that could impact your life insurance policy. And I was like, thank you for letting me know that, because that is some game. And those are things that we have to be mindful of. With technology and genetic testing and things that can show that you're at a higher risk of certain situations, it's good to know what's going on so that you can adjust your lifestyle and all to account for that. But we have to be mindful of the fact that that could also have a negative consequence on the back end as it pertains to like your term life insurance policy. Because if you find out, or if there's some marker there, and then your life insurance policy can say that you're at a higher risk of death than somebody else, that can increase the cost of you being insurable. Or honestly, it might even mean that you're not insurable. So if you do choose to go and get the genetic testing to determine whether or not you have Lynch's syndrome, be mindful of the fact that that could impact your rates, or whether or not you can be insured as it pertains to life insurance. And so what his recommendation to me was, he was like, if you're going to do that, make sure that you have your life insurance already in place. Okay, that was some game. If you choose to go that route, make sure your life insurance is already in place before going and taking that test. Because if not, that could, if it comes back, in not favorable, or it comes back and it says you're at a higher risk, that could impact your rates, or it could make you non-insurable. So again, these are little things that we have to be mindful of. Again, health is wealth, knowledge is power, because then you are able to then take the action steps to go and make sure that things are done correctly, and you can, put yourself in a best position for the most favorable outcome. All right. And so my procedure was pretty straightforward. This is my second one, so I've done it before. And fellas, I encourage each and every one of you all to just really be intentional about your health, to be intentional about diagnostics and understanding what's going on, because you can't fix what you don't know is broken, right? And again, let's take this back to the story of Chadwick Boseman. I mean, the brother was 43 and he passed away from colon cancer. I mean, yes, that's not typical. I mean, usually this is something that impacts, individuals who are a little bit older. But the reality is he was diagnosed in his late 30s and ended up passing away at 43. And so I'm encouraging each and every one of you all to really take your health seriously. And then once you figure out what's going on, improve upon it. Even if you're great, even if everything is cool, build upon that. Let's not be good. Let's be great. Let's not be great. Let's be awesome. Let's be in a state of continual, perpetual improvement. And let's do that so that, we can be around as long as possible. But it's not even about being around a long time. It's about being the best that we can be while we're here. That's the thing. So it's not about trying to be here for 200 years. I mean, who really cares about that? The thing is, while I'm here, I want to bring my best. And you can bring your best when you're in the best health or the best shape possible. So be intentional about that and make it happen. So, hey, fellas, man, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I hope this has been informative. And I hope this is really something that spawns you to just to take action on what it is you need to take action on as it pertains to your health. It might not mean that you need a colonoscopy. Maybe it's something else that's been bothering you. Go get it checked out. Maybe it's something else that you're struggling with. Hey, go ask some questions about it. Do some research on it. Get a baseline of where you are. And then from there, you can build upon it. And then you can make it better. You can't make something better if you don't know that it's not good or not well. All right? Well, hey, fellas, as always, make sure to subscribe to this on your favorite podcast listening app. Again, I hope you're looking at this via YouTube because there's some images here for you to check out and kind of see the process. But share this thing out with a lot of brothers, man. We want brothers to really take their health seriously because, man, we got to be in the best shape possible. We got to stay in fighting trim. We got to be ready to go. We just got to be ready. And make sure to visit blackfamilyapparel.com. Grab some dope apparel like this hoodie I'm rocking here, Black Fathers Matter. I got the Black Leaders, Black Fathers hoodies and t-shirts. Man, they're fire, man. They're flying too. So y'all need to grab some. And until next time, fellas, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace.
Yo, fellas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And always visit blackfathersnow.com as well as follow Black Fathers Now on virtually every social media platform you can think of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Just follow us and engage with us, man. Look forward to hearing from you. And I guess until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.